गीला किया क्या? गीला किया? गीला किया उसे? Here, welcome, welcome. Oh, sorry.
They didn't make it on this tramp. Don't say that out loud.
One moment! There's someone who would like to give our tour a quick introduction. He's the host of The Tonight Show, Jimmy Fallon. Oh, hey there. We made it.
Welcome to the Universal Studio Tour. I'm Jimmy Fallon. I'll be making sure that you get through this experience in one piece. You've got the very best guide.
His name's Paul.
And the greatest drive.
His name's Shaw.
They're the best. I love them. Even though
We've got Paul.
both me $5. I know you guys are excited to get on the tour, but first, a few safety rules.
We do have safety rules as we're driving around the studio today. If at any time during the tour you need immediate assistance, you have a medical emergency, you accidentally drop something important off the side of the tram, if you're experiencing sound issues or video issues in the car that you're in, reach up and pull down on that red emergency cord that runs down the center of the tram set. When you pull down on the cord, as soon as it's safe to do it, we'll stop the tram. I'll come back to see what you need assistance with. But otherwise, throughout the entire tour, please remain seated and keep your arms and legs inside the tram at all times. Our studio is private property, so if you drop your phone off the tram, or if you can't wait until the end of the tour to use the restroom, pull the emergency cord and remain seated. No smoking on the tour. Be aware that our trip is going to include some tram movements, loud noises, fire effects, and water effects. Keep your cameras ready for photos, but keep an eye on them so they don't get wet. And finally, for the safety of everybody sitting around you, please do not use selfie sticks on the tour. You can put your phone on a handle, but we ask that you don't extend the pole so we can run. On both sides of the tram, we have posters of a lot of our classic Universal films. Earlier this year, we won another Academy Award for Best Picture for Green Book. That's our 10th Best Picture Academy Award-winning film. And as of last month, we've been giving tours of our studio for 55 years. We started this in July of 1964. Shaw and I are going to continue that tradition today as we take you around. But not everything that we're going to drive by is fake. It's not all movie sets. That's a real fire station. You can take a picture, but it's real. And there's one of these in every city. And people are like, why are you Let me tell you about what's going on the live today. What's filming today? Superstore is filming. They're working on their 5th season right now, and we're going to be driving by the stages where they're filming. Will and Grace is here today. They're working on their final season. So we're going to be driving by where they're filming one of the final episodes of the show. Kelly Clarkson has a new variety show, The Kelly Clarkson Show. She's filming today. Mindy Kaling used to do the Mindy Project here. She's creating and producing a new show for Netflix called Never Have I Ever. It's a Universal show. She's filming today. And right now, inside Soundstage 12, they're getting that stage ready for the 17th season of The Voice. They've already started shooting segments for the new season that haven't aired yet, like the blind rounds and the battle rounds. So Kelly Clarkson is again returning as one of the voice coaches. She's joined by Blake Shelton, who's been in every season, John Legend, and Gwen Stefani. And when we drive by the stages, they might be rehearsing inside some of the stages. They've asked that I reduce the volume a little bit, and I'm going to look like I'm nervous when we're driving by. I'm not nervous, but I have to keep looking around, because right next to every soundstage entrance door, there's a little red light. If we drive past any soundstage and that red light is on or flashing, they're not rehearsing, they're filming. And I immediately have to turn off all the sound on the train. So if I stop talking in the middle of a sentence, it's because I see one of those lights on. These last two stages on the left, 17 and 16, they've knocked out the walls in between the stages to separate them. So instead of having the two stages back to back, they made it one big stage. And this is where we built Superstore. They work in a big store called Cloud 9. Most of the store is inside those stages.
I know it's hard in here, but let's have some patience for one another.
Yeah, you know, the heat makes us follow acts. If your face stays where it is, it's going to get punched.
Now keep looking around as we're driving past this area for people that are wearing these blue vests and blue polo shirts, because all these trailers on the left side of the tram are for the stars of Superstore. They also film inside Soundstage 21, and the people on Superstore are very nice. America Ferrera, Ben Feldman, Mark McKinney, Lauren Ashton. Often, when they're not filming, a lot of times we'll drive by and we'll see them stand outside. They like to come out and wait till the trams will pass by, so we see them out here quite a bit. Somebody else who really likes to come out and say hi to the trams as we're passing by is Steve Harvey. He does Family Feud here, and he just finished his 21st season as host of that game show. It films inside Stage 37, which is not a stage we drive directly past, but it's right around the corner over here on the right. They're getting Stage 41 ready for the second season of Homecoming, which is a show that streamed last year on Amazon Prime with Julia Roberts. So they're getting the stage ready for the next season. We're getting ready for the third season of Good Girls, one of our NBC shows with Christina Hendricks, Greta, and Mae Whitman. And The Good Place with Kristen Bell and Ted Danson. He's at Stage 43. Right in front of Stage 43, there are statues that I guarantee every child on the tram knows. No matter where you're visiting from all over the world, the kids know the Minions. They've got their own movie, The Minions. They're in the Despicable Me films. We made those movies with the company Illumination Entertainment. Their office is over here on the left. We do a lot of films with them, family films like The Secret Life of Pets 2 and The Grinch. That's another family film. I'm just checking to see who's listening. You got it. Did you kids see Ted? Did you see the movie Ted? No? No? You didn't, none of you saw? How old are you guys? 10? You're all 10? Watch it when your parents aren't home. You're going to learn new words. No. Watch Paddington. That has a talking bear. He doesn't say bad words. There's an office over here on the left. She's not here right now, but look a few spaces next to the golf cart. Jennifer Lopez. She's one of the executive producers of World of Dance, the film show, so she has an office off to the left. Elizabeth Banks, who you might know from the Hunger Games films and the Pitch Perfect films, she's got an office here. She's a writer and a director. She wrote and directed the upcoming Charlie's Angels, and she works in one of the offices off to the left. One of the most famous directors ever, Alfred Hitchcock. The master of suspense used to work out of Office 5195. And almost every time Hitchcock directed a movie, he tried to put himself in the movie somewhere.
My name is Alfred Hitchcock. We all know a little Matson there. Save the blood.
Some of the parking spaces in front of the office on the left are for Will and Grace, which films at the soundstage right behind the office. And one last soundstage on the front lot as we make the turn on the left side of the tram at Stage 23. Today they're filming a commercial in this stage. So this next area we drive by, you're going to see a lot of production trucks out here. It's all for the commercial. It's the same stage that we use for America's Got Talent. So for the first 5 minutes of the tour, Shaw has been taking us through the front lot, where we have the sound stages and the production offices. Now we move into the back lot over here on the right. The back lot is a lot more visual than the front lot. It's where we have all the sets that are too big to fit inside the stages. So the first set that I'm going to point out from the movie is right over here on the right across the grass. There's a building with 5 set of steps lead up to the front doors. That's where Jim Carrey and Jennifer Aniston lived in Bruce Almighty. Praise the dog! I'm in the shower! That's our back lot right there. B-E-A-U. The street that we're on right now, this is a famous street. Back in 1985, Marty McFly drove 88 miles an hour, just like Sean was trying to do. At the end of Back to the Future, right before lightning hit the clock tower, this is the town of Hill Valley from Back to the Future. That's Bobby, right there in the blue vest. He is one of our VIP tour guides, so he's taking this group around the Back to the Future set. We're going to stop here for a moment. You guys can get some pictures of the set, and while we stop, I'm going to show you what that City Hall building looked like in a few productions. In 1985, it looked like this in Back to the Future. But 2 years before Back to the Future came out, in 1983, Norman Bates was released from that courthouse in Psycho 2. 1962, Gregory Peck defended his client there in The Kill a Mockingbird. 2003, there's a riot in front of the courthouse in Bruce Almighty. And in 1989, they said the world would look like this by now. In Back to the Future 2, they said by 2015, cars and skateboards would fly. They are 4 years behind schedule. A lot of television shows have filmed out here. Some of the shows that I mentioned as we were passing by the sound stages have filmed out here recently, like Good Girls, The Good Place, and Will and Grace. They've all used this part of our backlot. Now we're going to continue on. We're going to make a right-hand turn into a section of our lot that's often used as New York in movies and shows. So to tell you about it, a guy who films a show in New York, Jimmy Fallon.
Hey everyone, welcome to New York. I got my start right here in New York on Saturday Night Live. This is actually my old neighborhood. I once got mugged over there. An old woman. Tough lady. This is my favorite hot dog guy. Hey buddy, how's it going? Remember me? No. Just like old times. Gotta love New York City. Hey, I'm walking here! I'm walking here! Hey, it's cool guys. I was just walking there. So it's not exactly New York, but a lot of times when you see New York in the movies, it was shot right here on the Universal Metro sets. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, even if you make it here on the Universal lot.
I think a lot of people on the tram may have seen these sets of movie theaters this month, because all month it's been at the top of the box office. Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw. In that film, this wasn't New York, it was London. And they did a motorcycle chase out here. Dwayne Johnson, Jason Statham, and Vanessa Kirby are in a McLaren. Very fancy, fast car. They're being chased through the streets of London by Idris Elba and his gang. They're on motorcycles. They did some of the stunt scenes out here. You can also see these sets in American Ninja Warrior. This season on NBC, they had the whole obstacle course filmed out in this part of our backlot. Most of the sets we're driving by on the tour are not full buildings. These are facades. They're outer shells. So they build the fronts and the sides of the sets, and most of these buildings are empty on the inside. So if you're watching a movie or a TV show and you see someone step inside one of these buildings and they shut the door, they stop filming, and then on another day they go inside of a sound stage. They do the indoor scenes inside of our stages. I'm going to bring up an Academy Award-winning director to tell you about the next part of the tour. The director of the Lord of the Rings films and King Kong, Peter Jackson.
It's the original King Kong that made me want to direct movies. I saw that movie on TV when I was about 8 or 9 years old, and I wanted to become a filmmaker. I like films that just take you away from your real life and sweep you up an adventure. Kong literally does that. I mean, you're on board a ship, you're sailing to a lost island, you're encountering monsters and creatures from, prehistoric times. So I was thrilled when Universal invited me back to Skull Island, and it's great to have you along for the ride.
Now, we have created this 3D immersive experience, so you're going to have your glasses ready.
Don't put them on yet, just have them in your hand because we're about to return to Skull Island.
Okay, everybody, hold on to your belongings. Remain seated at all times, and yes, put your 3D glasses on. We're going to Skull Island.
Yeah.
So sure.
Okay, glasses on everybody. We're back at Skull Island.
time you should take off your 3D glasses. I know most people have already done that, but I bring it up because some people have been wearing these for the whole tour. And there's nothing outside in 3D. But don't lose the glasses. Try not to drop them off the side of the tram because you're going to need these again a little bit later for another one of the special effects. You're not going to need them for a while. I'll let you know when it's time to put them on again. The King Kong 360 3D is one of the world's largest, most intense 3D experiences. The attraction was co-designed by director Peter Jackson, and he worked very closely with the special effects team of Weta Digital. It's a company in New Zealand, and they use some of the most advanced technology in filmmaking to build this attraction for our tour. And before we pulled into the building, you may have noticed there's a very unfortunate tram parked right in front of it. It's not in very good shape. It's crushed, and it looks like King Kong may have stepped on it. That's a picture car. Anytime we use a specific vehicle for production, they call it a picture car. And like that one, a picture car doesn't have to work. It doesn't have to have an engine. It just needs to look like a real car when they're filming. These are quick examples of some of our picture cars in action. Look out! The reason I'm showing you this video of cars, we have a whole row of picture cars on our backlot. On the left side of the tram, we've got vehicles for movies and shows. Right behind each one, there's a billboard that lets you know what we used it in. And some of the cars were the ones that I've just shown you in that clip. Most of the cars that we have up here are operational. They actually work. The only cars up here that don't work, the Flintstones. They don't have engines. Because the Flintstones didn't have engines. So just like the animated series, for the movie, they had to use their feet to get them to work, kind of run under the cars. We've got Fast and Furious cars. We've got a gyrosphere from Jurassic World and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. The gray car, Willie's Coupe. In the first scene of The Fate of the Furious, Dominic Toretto was racing that. The engine catches on fire, the whole car starts falling apart. And the military vehicles are in the first Transformers, but the Transformers movies aren't Universal films. They're Paramount. Any movie studio can rent our backlot sets or our sound stages. So at the end of Transformers, when they do the final battle in the city, and they're blowing up some of the buildings while they fight, that was New York Street that we just drove through. That was safely done on our backlot. The SUV on the right and the Jeep on the left are from the Jurassic Park movies. John Hammond, the guy that built Jurassic Park in the first movie, he wants to say something to you while we take you through this next section.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
That was it. That's all he wanted to say. This is where we've stored sets from the Jurassic Park films, like the boat on the right. That's from Jurassic Park 3. The RV on the left, in the second Jurassic Park, The Lost World, that's the mobile laboratory that the T-Rex is pushing off the cliff, and it's kind of hanging off the cliff while people are trapped in it. Do you guys want to see dinosaurs? We put some on both sides of the tram. They're spitters. I probably should have mentioned that part first. They're doing it again. Dinosaurs keep spitting. I think they're going to hit the last two cars. That's why I have a window. It's not fair. If you see that as many times a day as Shaw and I do, you get a window. It's a perk. And if you didn't get wet, don't laugh at people that did, because A, that's not nice. B, the tour's not over. We're at a movie studio, and we can create weather effects anytime.
Hi everybody, here's today's forecast for the Universal Backlot. It's going to be sunny and dry in 6 Points, Texas. Cool and cloudy in Little Europe. Expect snow and sleet on New York Street, and we've got a high chance of fog and precipitation for Skull Island, Amity Island, and Isla Nublar. That's your forecast for today. Now here's a look at what's going on in your neck of the lot.
Flash flood warning. Old Mexico.
That was Al Roker from the Today Show, and this is Old Mexico. And we're going to be stopping the tram for a moment to demonstrate a really simple effect. What if we're making a movie or a television show and the script calls for rain, and they're shooting outside on a day when it's not raining? They use sprinklers. So we're going to stop, see it raining in Old Mexico. The problem with this special effect is we run it all day. Every time a tram stops in Old Mexico, it rains, and the set is built on a hill. And over the course of the day, there's a lot of water that builds at the top of the hill. And at one point, it all rushes downhill. It creates a flash flood. That's why Al Roker gave us that warning. You might want to be careful if you're sitting on the left. Watch the top of the hill. We've got a flash flood coming. Whoop. Wait a minute. There it is. Now look up at one of the monitors, because here's that flash flood special effect in the scene from the family comedy Big Fat Liar. You can't outrun the wolf, kid! Yeah, we'll do that. Some other popular movies that filmed off to the left in Old Mexico include Three Amigos, Nacho Libre, and Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Indiana Jones movies, of course, star Harrison Ford. Yesterday, they were shooting a Harrison Ford movie on our backlot called The Call of the Wild, which is based on Jack London's novel. The movie also stars Karen Gillan, who plays Nebula in the Guardians of the Galaxy films and the Avengers films. She's also in Jumanji. And they were filming over here on the left side of the tram using our old Western sets yesterday. So they're striking the set right now, meaning they're taking away all the equipment that they were using for the production. But it's still a great photo opportunity. As we drive by, you're still going to be able to see the set is mostly still decorated for the production. We're going to hang out here just for a second. We've got a tram that's going to be pulling out. They're going to be pulling past us. There's a lot of famous cowboys that have made movies out of this barber backlot, like Leonardo DiCaprio. This is where they filmed scenes for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, directed by Quentin Tarantino. In the movie, Leonardo DiCaprio is an actor that stars in a lot of Western television shows. One of them is called Bounty Law, and they filmed all those scenes out in this barber backlot. But when they were filming the movie, it was top secret. So we weren't allowed to say what the name of the movie was. We weren't allowed to say who was starring in the film. We couldn't say who was directing the movie. But there's a lot of scenes in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood that takes place at a movie studio. So our trams were driving by while they were filming. Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio were sitting in a car right over here on this street. And Quentin Tarantino was filming them. But since we couldn't say who was in the car or what was filming, nobody on the tram recognized them because they were busy taking pictures of the people riding around on horses dressed as cowboys. So we couldn't point them out. Top secret production at the time. Now at this point, we are a little beyond the halfway mark of the tour. So again, I would like to remind everybody, please remain seated at all times. If you drop your phone or an important item off the side of the tram, if you can't wait to the end of the tour to use the restroom, remember you can pull the emergency cord to get my attention. But then remain seated. I'll come back to switch and help them. The next set we're going to drive through is used on the TV show The Good Place with Kristen Bell and Ted Danson. Whenever you see the characters on the show walking around outside in a little village, they use this barber backlot. It's called Little Europe. And up until yesterday, this barber backlot has been closed for 6 months as they were filming the new season of the show. They just finished shooting the final episode of the show. So when the show returns for new episodes, it's going to be the last season. Take a look at the monitors. This film out here in New York.
Elevator show struck. Our death.
Cool.
This location, the afterlife. Come on. I've never ever seen this. You're in the good place.
I'm not supposed to be here.
I'm going to pause this for a second. Look at the building on the left side of the tram with the bright green door. This is where they filmed this scene.
I can't risk going to the bad place.
Maybe it's not all that bad.
They
you.
What is the bad place like?
Well, it doesn't sound awesome.
The sets from The Good Place are the same sets from all those classic horror movies of the 30s and 40s. Frankenstein, Dracula, the Wolfman, the Invisible Man. When they would have the scenes in those movies with angry villagers marching through the town with the torches and the pitchforks or getting ready to kill the monsters, those scenes were all done out here in Little Europe. Something else that films in this part of Backlot is a talk show, Home and Family, on the Hallmark Channel, hosted by Debbie Metnopoulos and Cameron Matheson. They use the house on the left side of town.
Hey, Universal Studios fans, I'm Cameron Matheson.
And I'm Debbie Metnopoulos from the Emmy-nominated television show Home and Family.
Join us as we go behind the scenes with your favorite actors, musicians, and celebrity chefs.
Plus amazing DIYs, fun fashions, and so much more.
Make sure to watch Home and Family on Hallmark Channel every weekday.
So far, all of the sets that I've been pointing out to you have been our outdoor sets. Here's a good example of a set built inside of a soundstage. And we're going to be stopping the tram in the stage, just like we stopped in the set from Back to the Future, if you want to get some pictures of the set. But even when we come to a complete stop, please remember to remain seated at all times. This set, this stage, is 30 years old. It was built in 1989 to look like a subway station. A couple of years ago, there was an episode of Bones that filmed inside the stage, and they were shooting their scenes at night. They waited for the tours to finish for the day to make sure that they didn't hear us driving by outside. Hold on. That was an earthquake. Don't laugh, it's an earthquake. Wow! Everybody, hang on. Let's get out of here. The water main just broke. Uh-oh. Right before the earthquake started, I told you that was used in an episode of Bones.